Hi, welcome to Local Flavor. My name is Oystein Solberg, and we're here at the Institute of Culinary Arts, where we're hanging out with Chef Coach Dr. Janet Marr.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good? Oh, okay. I just saw like a big lump of butter in front of her. I figured you would have been like ecstatic.
We'll see.
I know I am. Like, I love butter.
What do you want us to do
We're going to
with all that butter?
We're going to make puff pastry.
Oh!
Or you're going to make it. I'm going to wash it, but I don't really know how to do it, so
Well,
I figured I'm going to
I'll
have like
show you.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be making it most of the other times.
Maybe.
So, okay.
So what do we have here?
Well, okay, to make puff pastry by hand, as opposed to buying in a grocery store, you first have to do two things. You gotta have lots of butter. That's going to be pounded down until it's what we call pliable, flexible, but still cold. And then you're going to need a flour dough.
Okay.
The dough itself that I already made beforehand is just flour, water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of fat.
Yeah.
In our case, butter. Mix it sort of like into a pie dough, and then you just pat it out and roll it out.
Okay.
Okay, so
Because that needs to sit and kind of rest a little bit after it's mixed, right?
After it's rested a little bit, you roll it out and then you cool it down again.
Yeah.
So that it's not soft and floppy. So then the other thing you need is fat. In our case, butter. The butter also has to be pounded out to a specific size. So I have the butter that I need for that batch of dough, and I always like to rub a little flour on it just to prevent it getting too sticky on my piece of paper that I'm going to roll out. So I'm putting my fat or my butter on a piece of parchment and putting a little flour in to prevent sticky, and then I'm just going to fold it over. This is the most favorite part for most people because then you can do this, pound it out.
It looks so violent.
Make it,
like,
I know. It relieves a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
So I pound it out between pieces of paper so you can do it on your counter, but then you get it all sticky and then you have to get it back out.
Because then you also got to get it to a specific shape. So you can just use the parchment like you did there to kind of help kind of tuck in the side.
So you get it. So the butter has been sitting out for a little bit to slightly soften so that it's not rock solid. So you pound it out like this. Oftentimes most people say how big should I pound it out? So that depends on how big you roll your dough out. So I have over here a piece of butter that I already pounded out beforehand, and I made it specifically so that it's half the size of my piece of dough that I rolled it out. So the dough, after it's been rolled out, is this size. So if your dough is this size, oops, not a good idea.
Dough being ornery.
Yes, it's too hot, sticky. So I'm gonna get a piece of something to help.
So did the dough sit out too long?
Yeah.
So it's just getting a little.
So I'm gonna just put a little flour in here to get it.
Just press it down.
Press it back down.
So at this point it's fairly forgiving, right?
Right. It's just dough.
Yeah.
But after you add the butter into the dough, it's not as forgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my piece of dough, and what I want is pound my butter out so that it's about half the length of my piece of dough.
Okay.
Because what I'm gonna do next is have this piece of dough out and fold it in half to do what we call encase or wrap the fat in between the two layers of dough.
Okay.
So
it's like a John Norman's butter hot pocket.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, if that's how you want to call it, fine. Okay, so now you have wrapped your fat or your butter on your piece inside your piece of dough. The next thing, so I'm just for the sake of cleanliness, I'm just moving it to this piece of parchment. So the next thing you really want to do is roll this dough out to its original size.
Okay.
Maybe three. So what you want to do is look at how wide this dough is. You want the length of this dough that you're going to roll out to be 3 times as long as it is wide.
Okay.
And why you say that? Why you want that? Because you're going to do what we call a process called lamination. So puff pastry, Danish, croissant, dough that belong to the family called laminated dough. Laminated dough basically means fat and dough layer into multiple layers.
Yeah.
You know French, you can say that word more than I do. The millefeuille. Yeah. So, now that I have the dough wrapped in the fat, what I want to do is, and it doesn't matter which side you start off with, you want to just pound it a little to help your dough expand, and so get the fat and the butter together.
You kind of merge it. Okay.
And then what you want to do, I keep moving the dough because I can't figure out what direction I'm going, so now I know.
There's a lot of options.
Now I know. I'm going to go that direction.
Okay.
So once you have the dough pound out, you want to roll it to the end of the dough.
Okay.
Just see. Okay. So as long as your dough is pliable, soft, and the same texture as your fat, you can roll it out fairly easily. In this process, the important thing is not to break your butter. You want sheets of butter rolling out with sheets of dough. Okay. Should I add something? So if your rolling pin sticks, then add a little bit of flour on the top. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so now you have it. So it's about 3 times as long as it's wide. So the next thing you want to do is fold this piece together like a letter.
Okay. So just fold it in thirds?
In thirds, yeah.
Okay. And you just fold it in the same direction,
Right.
or do like fold onto?
So the important thing of lamination or folding is that your pieces should be the same square.
Okay.
So make it into a square, and then you can fold it back up or take the other piece up and fold it again.
Okay, so if we got an overhang like this, can we just fold that over and that's okay?
That's fine.
And still kind of keep it the
Right.
same width.
So now, in most recipes, it'll tell you to wrap it and put it back in the refrigerator to let it chill. You know why they want you to do that?
To cool down the butter.
God, you're so smart.
I read a book once.
So that's the reason. However, if you're fast, like you were very fast, what you can do is, as long as the butter is still pretty firm and cool, you can go ahead and do the next fold. So in puff pastry, we do this process, which is called folding or churning, about 6 times.
Okay.
So
the more times you do it, the more layers you're gonna more
exactly.
flake you're gonna get. Okay.
Right. So now we just did one churn or one fold. So the next fold, and it's important, every time you do a churn, it has to be 90 degrees from what you did before.
So the open end is gonna be the direction we're rolling.
Exactly.
Okay.
You go ahead. Maybe we need a little flour on the bottom, just to help you prevent from sticking. So if you need a lot of flour to help you roll, what you want to do is, after you fold, brush excess off. You don't want to introduce a lot more flour into your dough.
Is that going to prohibit layering afterwards?
Right, prohibit and make your dough drier.
Okay.
So lots of dry flour that is not tasty.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so almost accomplished.
Pretty good. Okay, see how in this corner, because we
tear.
folded out. So if you see there's an area that is, the butter is oozing out, so pat some flour on it so that.
Okay. And that'll just eventually just kind of glue on and do its thing. This is so exciting. Like, I honestly haven't made puff pastry in 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. And even then I remember, like, I blew it out like probably half a dozen times.
that's common.
So like it's a daunting task. Like it's making puff pastry is not easy. Like it has
It
been.
takes patience.
Yeah.
And so like an eye for, okay, what's the texture of my dough like versus the texture of my fat.
Yeah.
Good. See, you don't even
Third cheese.
need me to remind you of what to
Out
do.
square.
Okay, so here this over here. Little
Oh,
fat,
yeah.
so pat a little flour on there to pretend nothing ever happens.
Oh yeah, nothing ever happened. Right there, nice and square.
Good, good.
Fold seed.
Okay.
Yeah, even stay kind of square.
Okay, so that's good. So
just
brush off
start
the extra
over.
flour. Good. Good. So now you did 2 turns, right?
Yeah.
So typically, I recommend that once you do 2 turns, it's time to chill.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because like you don't want to press your luck. It's
Right.
better to chill every turn and just
I
come on the safe
have
side.
pressed my luck, and it's
Yeah.
always come back to bite you. So
Yeah.
so after that's done, so some way people keep track is put a couple marks on there to say I did it
Ah.
twice already. Then you wrap it up
Yeah.
and put it in the refrigerator
Perfect.
for about 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
If you forget and it stay in the refrigerator for a longer period of time, no big problem. You just take it out and let it
sit. A
sit.
little bit. Okay.
Okay, so you want to wrap it up and we can put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited. Okay, so you guys stay tuned. You're gonna watch our dough chill for a little bit.
Chill. Yes. Watch it chill.
Yeah, it's like watching TV. You just watch butter cool. Like it's great.
Little margarita with the beach.
Yeah. Instead, we got a lump of butter on the flour. It's great. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
At Metropolitan Community College, you can start where you left off. Sometimes things happen in life that can put college on hold. We want you to know those credits that you've earned in the past can be transferred to a degree program that will put you on a new career path. Best of all, you can do it all online on your schedule, and it's just a third the cost of a big university. To get started, call a return specialist at 402-457-2270. Metropolitan Community College.
Hi, welcome back. We got Janet here today, and we're puff pastrying along today.
Wait, you did a good job. Look at how well. So the puff pastry after it's been churned 6 times,
Yeah.
then you can roll it out.
Yeah.
So we have a sample of the roll out product over here.
It's so pretty. But like you can also get like commercially made puff pastry as well,
Yes.
right?
Some of them are really good.
Yeah.
So you can buy them also again in the freezer compartment of the grocery store,
Yeah.
and you thaw it out,
Yeah.
and then you unwrap it, and then you can use it to do whatever it is
Yeah.
that you want to do.
Because it is a little bit daunting to make it first. Like it's good if you have the time to do it, and it's very challenging by all means. But like it's a good challenge.
It's a good challenge, and once you know how it works,
Yeah.
you can do it. It's just that it's always nice to have, prepare puff pastry
Yeah.
at home so that you can
Totally.
entertain it
Totally.
any minute.
Totally. Just on a whim. Boom. And I also enjoy using them for like a lot of savory stuff. Like I like making like this little, it's kind of like a hot pocket type thing. And it's like really, really tasty, and like you can just have it for like a lunch or a brunch, or you can really just fill it with anything. If you got a lot of like leftovers and stuff like that, you can jam it in there. It's gonna be awesome. So I got a sheet of puff pastry. I'm gonna brush a little bit of egg action on it because we're gonna make like a pocket out of it. So the egg will just help it stick a little bit. So just brush a little layer on. It doesn't have to be super thick. Just like so. I feel like so artistic.
I know.
I'm like the egg artist. I got some whole grain mustard, and it looks like a lot, but by the time you eat the whole thing, like you'll kind of understand why. You can use different types of mustard. You can use like a honey mustard, or even if you got like
ballpark.
yeah,
Frank mustard.
yeah, like you can kind of do anything. Or even if you got like a different type of chutney or something like that, like you can kind of wing it with anything. So I just kind of smear it out. It doesn't have to look super even or nothing.
That is a lot of.
Yeah, it looks like a lot, but by the time it comes together, it'll make perfect sense. I got some slabs of ham right here. Gonna put them right on. Make sure to kind of leave the edge open.
Yeah.
Because we need that to stick it together and all that fun stuff.
Think of it as an envelope
Yeah.
that you fill with stuff.
Totally, yeah. If you got like leftover braised meats or like pulled pork or something like that, or like some brisket in there, like it will be super delicious. Like you can kind of improvise a lot with it.
I know you're a meat person, but you can also be vegetarian.
Totally.
Roasted vegetable with
Yep.
all sorts of cheese and stuff, or not cheese if you.
Oh, like you can kind of make
Herbs.
it. You can make it anything. I'm gonna put a couple of slices of Munster in there. It's a very easily melting cheese. You can use other types of cheese, so like you use Swiss or you can use cheddar or just about anything. Just put a couple of pieces on there. And then if you want, you can add herbs and stuff like that. But I'm kind of a purist when it comes to my Hot Pockets. So when I got that on there, I'm gonna fold this side over, and you're just gonna stretch it all the way over, and just kind of push it down to the edges, just so it kind of comes out flush like that.
So a savory hand pie.
Yeah, it's super delicious. Then I'm gonna brush over as well. This is just gonna help it just get super nice and golden and delicious.
So the egg is just just an egg you beat up, or
Yep.
did you put some water in, cream in?
No, I just egg. I just went pretty plain on it. Like if you want to, you can add stuff to it as well, but I went pretty straightforward with it. Then I'm gonna use a fork. This is kind of the same method you do with making like raviolis and stuff like that. It's a good way of kind of sealing up the sides. So I'm just pushing gently. You don't have to push very hard, and that'll just help kind of the two folds stick together a little bit better. You just kind of go around the sides, and it kind of looks like a little postage stamp. And you just kind of pull it over like that, and just making sure that it's just nice and sealed. Like so. And if you want to, you can kind of run the knife over, just very lightly. You don't want to cut through the pastry, but just kind of cut through like one kind of the layers. That way when it bakes,
Designs.
yeah, you can write your name on there and you can kind of go crazy with it. And like at this point, you can put them in the fridge and kind of let them set out. If the egg dries out too much, like you can kind of like give it another reglaze. But so you can have it done the night ahead, throw them in the oven in the morning, and they'll do their thing.
Yeah.
It's like super magic.
So you can, well, you don't have to egg wash it. You can egg wash it when you bake. Or,
Yeah, totally. You can make them and freeze them. You can kind of make them whatever size you want, and they're like super magic.
There you
And
go.
by the time they cook, they come out like so. So see how they just like this is why they call it puff pastry. Like they really kind of explode. And these ones, like so, a lot of times you see like since the cheese is like super melty and stuff, like you see kind of exploded out a little bit. That's totally fine. There's still a little bit plenty of cheese in there, so it's all right. Yeah, and like they're just super nice and crispy. I'll let them sit and cool for a little bit before we bite into them. If not, your taste buds will be kind of angry. But like it's super easy, like a little brunch type thing.
Well, actually, with this reminds me, as we said, you can do anything with the puff pastry. So one of the most well-known, maybe a wedding thing is brie en croûte.
Yes.
What is
yes,
that?
yes.
You want to tell our audience?
So brie en croûte is basically like a slab of brie that's wrapped in puff pastry. You then make like all sorts of like ornamental decorations and stuff like that on it, and just bake it. So it's super flaky, buttery crust, and then you got melty brie on the inside, and it's like, it's so good. Like it's silly. They used to do it a lot back in the day. And you can kind of do it with any kind of soft, meltable cheese, like a triple cream brie or something. I don't like it's perfect for it. The puff pastry is even good like deep fried.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I've never done that. It's fat on fat.
Yes. Like you say it like it's a bad thing, Janet.
I'm just thinking the fat melts into the fat.
Yeah. Like just
Okay,
in case.
so puff pastry, as you see, and you can make a lot of things One other thing that I like to do when there's leftover pieces of puff pastry, don't wad it up, but just roll them out, and then you can brush it with the egg wash and sprinkle some cheese or urban and twist it to make cheese straw. I always do that because I said, well, if I'm going to spend all this time making it, I'm not wasting a single scrap piece.
Yeah, and you said a good thing there. Like you don't want to wad it up because like when you wad it up, like you're gonna break every layer that you spend time like when folding it and whatnot. Like it'll just break kind of the lamination. And like it'll just turn it into a dough instead of a laminated dough. So good point.
So when this is baked up and when it's cool enough for us to cut open, you will see, you know, layers of pastry with lots of air in between. That's because of the butter melted.
Oh, I'm going for it.
Okay, fine.
But like you can just smell the ham and the cheese and the mustard, and it smells so good. Normally you can hear it, it's just super flaky as well. So follow kind of the same way you scored it. Follow that track. That way it won't crush the dough too much.
Only if you want to share with somebody, or you can just take the whole
I
thing.
never share these. Like I'm just super picky when it comes to these. 'Cause, like they're just.
Yeah, depending on the size. Add some milk to it, so you can make a salad with it, and that's.
Yeah.
Look at the layering. Okay, stuff.
Like so, it's just mustard, it's cheese, it's ham, and it's flaky, and it's buttery, and I'm gonna put it all in my face. I need to put it down. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right, so we're gonna eat this. We're gonna do a great rejoicement, and then.
I'm going to show you some other ways you can use the puff pastry. So make it a little more fancy.
You're not calling this fancy, like a ginormous pile of ham and butter? And,
No. But we'll see, we'll see.
Let's eat it first, and then you can give me your...
Delicious, but it could be nicer looking, right?
Yes, okay.
But we can use your same product to make it.
Okay.
What, you know.
Okay.
You can.
I have faith. You're more refined than I am.
Well, we'll
That's
see.
okay.
Maybe not.
So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back, and Janet gonna give me a schooling in refinement. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is Metropolitan Community College, where students connect with jobs. Choose from more than 100 1- and 2-year career programs on campus and online. Get started at mccneb.edu.
Hi, and we're back here again at the Institute for Culinary Arts, where you're gonna just school me on refined.
Refined, yes.
Refined.
Not too refined.
Just a little refined.
Right. It's nice to know the spectrum of
Totally.
options. So I'm going to show you how to, instead of the Hot Pocket or the pocket ham and cheese pocket that you made, you can also be fancy if you have, you know, dinner party and you want to make a little more fancy. You can use the puff pastry to make little containers to hold your product and show what's inside instead of just.
Totally.
So I'm going to show you to make something like this called Volavant diamond, which is made of puff pastry.
Perfect.
And it looks complicated.
And it's like
difficult.
it is like the daintiest little thing.
I know. Isn't it cute?
It's so cute.
Okay, so to make that, all you have to do is cut your puff pastry into squares. And so I have one already pre-cut. And what you want to do is fold it into a triangle like this. Don't press too hard because you don't want to be able to open. And then use a sharp knife to cut straight down on the two wide sides of the triangle. Don't cut all the way through, but
So just leaving like
leave
a half inch.
in between. And then once you have it cut, open it back up again. Okay. And then where you cut, now you have a flap. And while I didn't cut it deep enough. All you want to do is grab it from one side and fold it over to the other corner. Okay, I forgot. Somewhere in between, you want the puff pastry to stick to each other. So you want to make a little egg wash so that you can glue them together. So once you do that, fold one corner to the other corner. Press it down a little bit. And then from that corner, fold it back to the other corner. So now you have a little diamond shape.
That is the daintiest little thing.
I know, it's so cute.
So cute.
But you don't have to make diamond. You can do other shapes.
Yeah.
But diamond is good mainly because it has a big enough opening for you to put enough filling in there so that
Yeah.
people feel like they're eating something.
Perfect.
The other thing after that is you poke holes on the center there,
Kind of darken
just to
them.
prevent it from puffing up, because you want to.
Because if it did, this would be level.
Right.
Okay.
But even if it did, it's no problem.
You can cut it out and
You
peel out the
can
metal.
score it. So once you have that, you can do multiple of this. Freeze it down if you're not planning to use it,
Yeah.
or bake it off at a high temperature.
Like
and
425.
425, and you just bake it until it's risen. See, look at the difference between in height. That's why they call puff pastry, from like half an
yeah.
inch to about an inch tall.
Yeah. It really like triples
Mm-hmm.
in size. Like it kind of goes crazy.
And you want to bake it until it's nice golden brown, and
Yeah.
the egg wash will help you do that.
Beautiful.
And once it's done, you can take it out, and if the centers puff up,
Yeah.
just push it back down,
Yeah.
and then once it's done,
We got some fun stuff to fill
you
it
can
with.
fill it with anything you want. Since you did savory, we're gonna do
Oh.
a little sweet by just using
Awesome.
some cream that I happen to have in my refrigerator.
Yeah. What kind of cream is this?
Well, this is actually is made with passion fruit
Okay.
puree with a little creme fraiche, honey,
Okay.
and then we have fresh fruits. Passion fruit is very tropical, but it's extremely flavorful.
Oh, I love it. Like whenever I can get my hands on like fresh ones, like I like geek out.
Well, I'm glad you know how to pick fresh one, because every time I buy fresh one, I open it up and I have
There.
like a quarter teaspoon of the pulp.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the yield on them is not very good, but like just the difference in flavor, like it's awesome.
Very good. From what pocket? Very fancy looking little pocket.
I've been practicing. I've been waiting
Okay.
to surprise you with this.
Good. So here's one way. So
Yeah.
you can use your ham and cheese to fill it the same way.
Yeah.
If you're doing something like fruit, I often like to put a little, strawberry glaze or something to just
Yeah.
a little more
Dip them
shiny.
in like a little. Okay. That's so.
And so you can make a whole, tray of this.
Yeah.
It could serve as a dessert instead.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited.
And
Awesome.
your filling is limitless, right?
Yeah.
Just like you say.
Yeah. So, now we have to do what I've been dreading to do for a little while.
What?
We have to have Jennifer tell us how much butter we actually
You know butter is good for you.
use. Yes,
But we'll listen. We'll
me.
listen to it, because we do want to live a little longer.
Yes. But I'm preserved in butter. I'm like a mummy.
Like
Still alive.
confit Ornstein soap.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll memorialize.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, of course, thank you for coming. Be sure to check out our website to figure out kind of what astronomical number of butter we actually use. Yeah, just stay tuned for future episodes. Be sure to listen to what Jennifer has to say about our oh so buttery kind of day. I promise we'll be better next week then.
Okay.
And so thank you guys very much for watching, and see you later.
Thank you, Chef Sahlberg, for having me on the show today. I'm Jennifer Meyer, a registered dietitian and licensed medical nutrition therapist. I'm also an adjunct instructor here at the Institute of Culinary Arts. Today we're talking about the pastry cream. And as you can imagine, with the eggs, butter, heavy whipping cream, lots of sugar, this is a dish that you would probably want to enjoy in moderation. It tastes great, and I'm all for including this in a healthy diet, but certainly in moderation it would be best consumed. Thanks for having me on the show today.